Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube English listening podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Karen. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
If you're new to this channel, we make slow and easy English podcasts about science, nature, history, and everyday life. Our goal is to help you relax and practice English at the same time.
So if you want more listening practice, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. That really helps the channel, and it helps you find our next videos.
All right, let's start. Today, we will talk about a tiny war inside your body. It sounds a little scary, but don't worry. It is also an amazing story.
A tiny war? Inside my body? What do you mean?
I mean your immune system. Your immune system is the team inside your body that protects you from enemies like bacteria and viruses.
So, enemies are things like germs and viruses, and the immune system is like my body's army.
Exactly. And today we will tell a story step by step. We will speak slowly and we will use easy English so you can understand at about A2 level.
Okay, let's go. I'm ready for this little war.
Great. So first, let's imagine a simple situation. Imagine you are walking outside. Maybe you are in a park or near a building site. You're not looking at the ground. And then you step on a small, rusty nail.
I can feel that already. That sounds very painful.
Yes, it hurts. Your skin opens a little. Your skin is your first wall. It is your first protection. Usually, it stops bad things from entering your body,
But now there is a small hole in that wall.
right? Through this small hole, bacteria from outside can go inside your body.
So the bacteria are like tiny invaders. They see the hole and say, "Let's go in."
Exactly. They go in, and inside your body, there is food for them. They can use your body's nutrients, your body's materials.
What do they do after they go inside?
They start to multiply. That means they make more and more copies of themselves. Some bacteria can double their number very fast, maybe in about 20 minutes.
So if there are 100 bacteria now, after 20 minutes there can be 200. After 40 minutes, 400. And it keeps going like that.
Yes. So in a short time, there are many, many bacteria inside. At first, they are quiet. You do not feel anything. But when the number's big, they start to attack your cells and your body.
So this is when we can get sick, right? Fever, pain, and so on.
Yes. But before things get too bad, your immune system starts to work.
Okay, so who moves first inside my body? Who is the first soldier?
The first cells that come are called macrophages. The word is long, but we do not need to remember every detail. Just remember, macrophages are like big, strong cleaners, or frontline soldiers.
Big, strong cleaners. I like that image.
They eat bacteria. They find an enemy, they cover it, and they pull it inside. Then, they use special chemicals, like acids and enzymes, to break the enemy into tiny pieces.
So they are like a vacuum cleaner that sucks up the bad guys and destroys them inside.
Exactly. One macrophage can eat many bacteria, maybe dozens, sometimes even more.
Do they do anything else?
Yes. While they fight, macrophages also send signals. These signals tell the body, hey, we have a problem here. Please send more help.
How does the body answer this signal?
The blood changes around the wound. The blood vessels become a little more open. Some liquid leaks out of the blood and goes into the tissue.
Is this why the skin around a wound becomes red, hot, and swollen?
Exactly. This reaction is called inflammation. It feels painful, but it helps. Inflammation makes it easier for other immune cells to come to the area and fight.
So, when I see that my skin is red and a bit bigger around a cut, I can think, oh, my immune system is working.
Yes, that's a nice way to think about it.
But what if the bacteria are too many for the macrophages?
Good question. Sometimes the enemies are too many or they multiply too fast. In that case, the macrophages send stronger help signals. Then another type of white blood cell comes, neutrophils.
Neutrophils. What are they like?
Neutrophils are like wild fighters. They are very active and very aggressive against bacteria. They use strong chemicals to attack and kill the bacteria.
So they are very powerful.
Yes, but they are not very careful. Sometimes when they attack bacteria, they also hurt healthy cells around them.
So they kill enemies, but they can also damage their friends?
That's right. Because they are so strong and dangerous, they do not stay for a long time. Neutrophils have a short life. After a few days, they self-destruct, they die, and the body cleans them away.
It's like a special unit that fights hard and then leaves the battlefield quickly.
Yes, that is a good way to say it.
So now we have macrophages and neutrophils at the wound. They are fighting the bacteria. But sometimes even that is not enough, right?
Yes. If the infection is very strong, we need a smarter plan, not only a strong plan. Now another cell becomes important, the dendritic cell.
Dendritic cell. What is its job?
Dendritic cells are like messengers or scouts. They are between the battlefield and the command center of the immune system.
How do they work?
A dendritic cell takes a small part of a bacterium. For example, a part of its surface. Then it shows this part on its own surface, like holding a picture of the enemy.
So it's like, look, this is what the enemy looks like.
Exactly. Then the dendritic cell travels through the body to a lymph node.
Lymph node. I think I know this word. Is that the small lump in my neck that sometimes becomes bigger when I have a cold?
Yes, that's right. Lymph nodes are like small meeting rooms for the immune system. Many immune cells are there, waiting for information.
And the dendritic cell brings that information.
Yes. It arrives and says, "Here's today's enemy. This is how it looks. Please prepare a special attack."
So this is where the immune system decides how to fight in a smarter way.
Exactly.
Who listens to the dendritic cell in the lymph node?
There, the dendritic cell meets T cells, especially helper T cells. The dendritic cell shows the enemy piece, and the helper T cell reads it.
So the helper T cell learns about the enemy.
Yes. After that, the helper T cells begin to multiply. One helper T cell becomes 2, 4, 8, 16, and so on. Soon, there are many helper T cells with the same information.
What do all these helper T cells do?
They start to activate other immune cells. Some T cells become killer T cells, which can attack infected cells. Other T cells become memory T cells, which stay in the body for a long time and remember this enemy.
Memory T cells. So they are like a small memory card inside me.
Yes, that is a good image. Because of these memory cells, if the same bacteria come again in the future, your body can react much faster.
So this is why when we have some sickness once, sometimes the second time is easier.
Exactly.
And what about the B cells? You said they are like factories.
Yes. B cells are very important. They are the cells that make antibodies. Antibodies are special proteins that can stick to the enemy.
So first the helper T cell learns about the enemy from the dendritic cell. Then the helper T cell talks to the B cells?
That's right. The helper T cell tells the B cells, "Here's the enemy. Please make antibodies that fit this shape."
Like making a key that fits one special lock.
Exactly. The antibody is like a key, and the bacteria are like locks. Only the correct key fits the lock.
So what happens when an antibody sticks to a bacterium?
Many good things for you, many bad things for the bacterium. First, The antibody can block the bacterium. Maybe it cannot move well or cannot enter your cells easily.
So it becomes weaker.
Yes. Second, the antibody tells other immune cells, here is an enemy. When a bacterium has many antibodies on it, it is very easy to see.
So macrophages can see it clearly and eat it.
Exactly. For macrophages, a bacterium with antibodies is like a big meatball with a flag on it. They can just go, oh, there you are, and eat it.
How many antibodies do the B cells make?
A lot. When B cells are active, they divide many times, and they make thousands and thousands of antibodies. These antibodies go into the blood and spread through the body.
That sounds like the second wave in the battle.
Yes, like a huge second wave of weapons.
Do B cells work forever?
No, they also get tired. They are like workers in a factory that never stops. They use a lot of energy, and then many of them die after the infection is finished.
So they are short-lived but very hardworking.
Exactly.
Let me try to say the story so far in simple steps. First, I step on a nail. Bacteria go into my body. Macrophages come and start to eat them. Then macrophages call for help. Neutrophils come and attack hard. If that is not enough, dendritic cells bring information to the lymph nodes. Helper T cells and B cells get ready. B cells make antibodies. The antibodies stick to the bacteria. Macrophages and other cells eat them more easily. Finally, the bacteria are gone.
That's a great summary. Yes, that is the main story.
And some cells become memory cells. They stay in the body and remember the enemy.
Right? Those memory cells are very important. They help your body the next time you meet the same bacteria.
So the immune system is not just strong, it also learns.
Exactly. It is strong and smart.
I have a question. Why do I sometimes get a fever when I have an infection?
Good question. The body sometimes makes your temperature higher on purpose. Many bacteria and viruses do not like high temperature. So, a small fever can make it harder for them to live and multiply.
So fever is also part of the body's strategy.
Yes. Of course, very high fever can be dangerous, so we must be careful. But a mild fever is often a sign that the immune system is working.
What about tiredness? When I am sick, I feel very tired.
That is also normal. The immune system needs energy to work. Your body uses energy to make cells, to make antibodies, to repair tissue. So you feel tired and your body tells you, please rest now.
So rest, sleep, and water help my immune system.
Yes, they help a lot.
The more we talk, the more I feel that my body is really amazing.
I agree. We usually do not think about this. We just live, eat, work, sleep. But every day, inside us, this small war happens many times.
And most of the time, we don't even know.
Right? We only notice when something goes wrong, like a big infection, a strong fever, or a big wound.
But even then, it is not just something bad. It is also my body trying to protect me.
Exactly. Redness, swelling, fever, tiredness, they are all part of the defense.
I think if we understand this, we can feel a little less afraid when we get sick. We can think, okay, my body is working hard right now.
Yes. And we can help it by resting, drinking water, and if needed, going to a doctor.
Michael, thank you. This story was very clear for me, and I think it is good listening practice for our viewers, too.
I hope so. If you are watching this and you understood most of it, that is great. You are training your A2 English, and at the same time, you are learning about your body.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please give this video a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that this content is helpful.
And please subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Click the notification bell so you don't miss the next episodes about science, nature, history, and everyday English.
You can also share this video with a friend who is learning English. Maybe someone who likes biology or health topics.
And if you have an idea for a future topic, you can write a comment below. For example, please talk about vaccines or please explain allergies or something like that.
We read the comments and use them when we plan new episodes.
All right, thank you so much for listening all the way to the end.
Take care of your body and let your immune system rest sometimes too.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.